Welcome to Science Sonic channel. My name is Anna Wilson. I am podcaster of this channel. There's always something eerie about ghost towns, and Picher in Oklahoma is probably one of the most terrifying examples in the U.S. Today the town is a post-apocalyptic vision, and photographer Seph Lawless was able to access a previously restricted area to take incredible pictures. The town was abandoned in 2006 when the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, issued a mandatory evacuation due to extremely dangerous lead poisoning. Although some residents refused to leave for many years. Picher was a productive mining community that produced 50% of the lead and zinc used during World War I, and the mining continued until 1967. Contaminated water and materials from over 14,000 mines spread to the ground, buildings, and people, and in 1996, 34% of the town's children had lead poisoning. Picher might be an extreme example of industrial interests trumping environmental concerns, but it's not too far removed from what's happening in Flint, Michigan at the moment. More pictures can be found in Lawless's book The Prelude. The deadliest city in America are on Lawless's Instagram. Picher, Oklahoma was evacuated in 2006 and is known as the most toxic city in America. All photos by Seph Lawless. When a tsunami hit the Fukushima I nuclear power plant on March 11, 2011, it sent the plant into nuclear meltdown, releasing radioactive material into the surrounding environment. On March 12, over 100,000 people living within 20 kilometers, 12 miles, of the disaster site were evacuated, and those within 30 kilometers, 19 miles, were warned to stay inside to minimize risk of exposure. Since then, there have been various claims and counterclaims on increased incidences of cancer among local residents. Months after the incident, the University of Fukushima began an unprecedented screening of children for early signs of thyroid cancer. The disease can be caused by exposure to radioactive iodine-131 and can indicate signs of radiation-related cancers. They screened hundreds of thousands of children, which is the age group most at risk of developing thyroid cancer after exposure, who were living in the Fukushima prefecture. What they found was staggering. Almost half of the 300,476 children so far tested had cysts on their thyroids, while over 100 were later diagnosed with cancer, a much higher rate of the disease than had previously been recorded. Predictably, this data has been seized upon by those wanting to prove the dangers of nuclear power, yet scientists have come out strongly against interpretations that indicate the increase in thyroid cancer diagnoses are due to radioactivity exposure. Instead, they think this increase in rates is simply due to sampling. As the study examined more children than had ever been looked at previously, they simply found that cysts and nodules on the thyroid are far more common than was previously believed. The evidence suggests that the great majority and perhaps all of the cases so far discovered are not due to radiation. Dilwyn Williams, a thyroid cancer specialist from Cambridge University, told Science. In fact, scientists had already predicted that the risk of cancer in those living near the site was probably quite low. While it is the second largest nuclear disaster to have ever happened, it was nowhere near the same scale as Chernobyl, belching just a tenth of the radiation, much of which was blown out to sea. Those workers who bore the brunt of the exposure have so far not experienced anything like those who cleaned up Chernobyl, though they will have to be screened every year for the rest of their lives, and one worker has since developed leukemia. In fact, the biggest threat to the people of the Fukushima prefecture is not thought to be from cancer, but mental and social well-being. The disaster caused massive upheavals, disrupted people's jobs, and induced heavy mental stress on tens of thousands of people. Those who were evacuated are 5 times more likely to suffer from psychological distress than the rest of Japan, and over 14% are recorded as suffering psychological trauma, compared with just 4% of the rest of the population. Main image IAEA Image Bank Flick CC by SA 2.0. Extreme weather events are tracked by scientists, but they can't be everywhere at once. With this in mind, citizen science, using members of the general public to contribute to scientific projects en masse, has proven to be a huge help. There are already projects encouraging people to track and notify the authorities when tornadoes have begun forming, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that NASA has asked the world to keep an eye out for eerie. As beautiful as they are, eerie, visually striking convergences of Earth's magnetosphere with incoming solar wind, are still not entirely understood, and NASA has a vested interest in unraveling their secrets. Just last winter, the space agency sent 2 rockets up into the aurora borealis, the northern lights, in order to investigate a particularly energetic part of the iridescent phenomenon. Eerie are more than just astronomical fireworks. They are part of geomagnetic storms, the most powerful of which can cause power outages and interrupt satellite systems. Gaining a better understanding of how and when they form will only help the planet better protect itself against incoming geomagnetic storms. This is the overarching mission of Aurorasaurus, the gloriously named Aurora-watching citizen science initiative by NASA. Founded by Dr. Elizabeth McDonald of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, it harnesses the power of social media, letting users tweet, use a specialized mobile app, or report through their own website whenever an aurora appears above them. McDonald noted that in 2011, a powerful aurora swept across the eastern United States, and it was widely documented by a vast number of people in real time. This allowed scientists to reconcile their predictions of when and where this geomagnetic storm would hit with its actual landfall. This spurred McDonald to set up Aurorasaurus, and since its inception it has tracked eerie with increasing precision. A recent study published this month in the journal Space Weather revealed that the program's citizen scientists have been able to spot eerie well beyond the areas predicted by scientific models, suggesting that these models need some modifications. The project is also being used as a prototype early warning system for emergency responders. While an aurora in itself isn't a natural emergency, like a wildfire, for example, it shares the same qualities as one, in that it occurs without much notice and is seen over a sizable area. As Aurorasaurus analyzes information gathered by both computer models and citizen scientists, it sends out warnings to other registered users notifying them on the advancement of the aurora, much in the way warnings about a wildfire or hurricane could be sent out to those standing in its path. Sign up here to join the hunt for eerie. If you're not sure where to wait for an incoming aurora to show up in the sky, fret not. The website provides you with a view line, a map trace that shows where the aurora is most likely to occur and at what time.